Guys, I'm gonna apologize up front if there's any audio issues with some of the videos in the next couple days. My neighbor over here, George, he's getting a new patio put in out front, new slab. So unavoidable.
What are we looking at today? Well, we are going to take a look at the Hogue Mini Flip X1-MF Mini Flip. It is a Awesomeness design. This is an interesting knife. And just in case you guys were wondering, yes, it's in pocket. And I did do a cardboard cut test with it. And it's every bit as bad as I thought it was going to be. So, yeah, let's not talk about that right now, because that's going to make me upset. Let's turn this around and talk about this. But first, you guys turn down the volume, because here comes a little bit of music.
We're finally getting around to taking a look at this Hogue Mini Flip that came in from Beardo the Weirdo as a gift. I believe that's who sent it. I can't remember 100%. This is a fun little knife. I've had it for a while now. We got the unboxing. We did kind of a first impressions, but I hadn't done any carry of it. It's been in my pocket all day with this, which I'm going to tell you, I have to honestly tell you, this was the worst choice I ever made, which was to offer you guys the chance to vote which one. This is horrible. So this Hogue X1 Mini Flip, done USA made knife. It's an Awesomeness design done by Hogue in titanium and 154 cm steel. It is a button lock with a secondary lock. I don't necessarily agree with the necessity of a secondary lock, but on a button lock, it makes a lot more sense than it does on other knives. Nice design on this blade, kind of a modified Warney. It's got kind of a harpoon tip. It is not a very large knife, I'm not gonna lie, and it has a weird blade to handle ratio. So it has got some really interesting action though. There's a weirdness to this detent, and I really don't understand what's going on with it yet. I haven't really looked. I don't like taking apart button locks because, not that they're such a horrible, they're so horrible to deal with, but there is a little spring and stuff in a plunger, and then there's always a little spring in these secondary locks and stuff like that. But basically this button lock, when you push it down, so you push down on this and then it opens. Now it didn't open all the way, but then that button kind of just locks out of the way. So what I'm thinking happens is that plunger goes up and in there, and that's exactly what it does. And there's almost acts like a detent. I'm sorry guys, that nerve damage in my hand. I got really shaky hand on my right hand side today. Yeah, it's really interesting, and it gives it a unique feel. So it has like a break where it pops. It's almost like on guns where you have trigger pull, and you take up slack, and then finally it just snaps. It gives it a unique feel, and then in closing, it kind of pops in. So it's very unique the way it feels. Now, the blade shape on it is great. It's not the thinnest behind the edge I've ever felt on a knife, but it does cut pretty well. I did cut up a little bit of cardboard when I did the initial test of this piece of crap. And it didn't cut horrible, but it's also not super thin behind the edge. In hand, really comfortable, but it does have a little bit of weirdness here. So I'm not 100% sure yet how I feel about that. Like I said, we'll go further with it as I carry it a little bit. The milling and finish on this is done incredibly well. It has a good bit of it's not super heavy, but it's got a really good balance because it's got a good bit of weight reduction that's done because you have basically a plastic, probably, I don't know, looks like maybe FRN backspacer that's been milled out. So it's not real super heavy. And then inside here, I'm not seeing any real weight reduction, but it's also not real thick. Now you can see that there's some liners in there that are steel liners that are in there just at the very front of that. Can you guys see that? Where this knife rides inside the titanium. So like I said, really, really unique. The milling on it is really good. I like the fact that you can reverse the pocket clip. It's not got a great pocket clip, but it's also not horrible. In and out of pocket on that pocket clip, the tension seems just about perfect. In jeans, if you were wearing, I think though that if you were wearing like 511s where you had that thicker material, that this might not be as good in and out of pocket as as some other pocket clips. And a lot of that I think is, I don't like when these pocket clips are so close to any of the milling. It catches a lot. So there's your attractive overview look. Now, so let's look at the blade. So you're looking at a fairly nice 154 cm blade. It comes down to a nice piercing tip. They've done a little bit of material removal on the spine to give it a much more aggressive look. You've got some pretty good jimping that goes all the way up. It's almost, I don't want to say it's too aggressive. It's some of the more aggressive jimping you're going to see on some of these knives. It does have kind of a weird blade to handle ratio, though. Like I said, you can see it, that blade to handle ratio is a little off. It gives it a weird, more handle than blade look, but it is comfortable and it does cut pretty well. So you can get up on it. You get pretty good purchase. The jimping's not horrible. I will say that this jimping in here on this flipper tab's a little hot. And this is one of those cases where it's a lot like the, what am I going to say here? The Hinderer style pocket clips, where they're a little bit hot and sharp in here, that it kind of is uncomfortable if you're in on it and you're really pushing, especially on a smaller knife when I'm trying to just get a little bit more purchase on it so it doesn't feel like I'm completely off of it, because it's not like a 3-finger knife. And it's also not a 4-finger knife, really. It's kind of a 2.5 or 3.5, and it feels like I'm sliding off. So when you try to get yourself up on it a little bit further, it kind of pushes you up into the flipper tab. But like I said, nice thing, not super, super aggressive, but you can definitely feel it. This comes down to a pretty sharp point back here. I was thinking that, like, if you really needed to, you could use that as a window breaker. Right here on a corner, you can get on it and just use one corner to break the glass on a car window if you needed to. Like I said, it has this secondary lock that is really, that's a tight pop. Like, it's not going to come undone, and it definitely does not allow that blade to move. I'm not a big fan, like I said, of secondary locks, but the reason I like them on a button lock, and I'll let you know why. This one, not so much, because this one it's got a pretty stiff button. But a lot of times on a button lock, especially if they're really free, and it doesn't take much to disengage the lock. Case in point would be that Pit Boss that I had come in. You could easily, get up on that if you were where the button was on that one. You could get up on it and disengage your lock. This one, not so much, but on a button lock, I kind of do understand a secondary lock, but listen to it. It's got a good amount of tension on that little spring clip that's in there. It's right there. And so it just locks over onto, how it works is, you can see, here's your plunger. So you push down on it. It just basically locks over so you can't depress the button far enough to disengage the lock. And on a button lock, I kind of get that. It does make sense. On other knives, like just regular knives, I don't see it, especially like liner locks or frame locks. Doesn't make sense. I never liked the locks or the auto lock system that CRKT used. So all in all, I'm really kind of digging this knife. We're going to give it a good carry. I'm going to show you a size comparison since I have it out here. This is the Benchmade 940. It's still out on the counter because I shot that video about the reblade. It is not a big knife. It is pretty small. On the mat, from tip to heel, you're looking at just at like 6.5, looks like to me. Might be a little parallax, like 6.5 on the mat. So not a real large knife, but it is a good cutter. I like the blade shape and overall profile. It looks pretty futuristic, if you ask me. But it's got a lot of options for a lot of people. You got reversible clip and stuff like that. And it is a reversible clip that has a spot where you've got a plate. So I kind of dig that. And it has additional hardware. That way you have, it's just because I like symmetry. So I might have hardware on one side. I like it to be pretty symmetrical. I can get by with a little bit of loss of symmetry, but I dig it when things are symmetrical and you've got the same thing on both sides. So I do like that from an aesthetic standpoint. But the fact is, these button head screws, they do stick up a little bit so you can feel them. That's the one thing. I wish they had gone with something that was a little bit more flush mounted. Maybe some you know, some thinner, flatter screws. You can get those. I've seen them. But they are all Torx. And like I said, really, really good, clean machining. So I don't know price point or any of those things on this knife. Like we said, this is the first day impressions. I fly into it blind. I'm sorry it's taken me so long, Beardo, to get around to finally doing a video about it. But there you go. There's the Hogue X1 mini flip. Now I know there's a bunch of different models, and like I said, more information will be coming out on this as I carry it, because I will do the full review. Once again, I like to do the blind reviews for those of you that are new to the channel, because it allows me to not be biased by price point and things like that. But yeah, nice to have. Hogue is an American brand that is out there, and it's great that there finally are some American brands out there that are competitive on price and still keeping up the quality. So, all right, guys, that's it on this one. Let's turn it around and do some final thoughts.
So like I said, guys, really unique knife, interesting detent on this. I like the button lock. I like the way it flips. It really has grown on me. I started carrying it early this morning. It's 10:48 right now. So I think I put this in my pocket at about 5:30 this morning. So I like the way it flips. It's got an interesting feel to it. Nice snap. So that's it, guys. That's it on this one. If you like the videos, give them a thumbs up. If you don't like them, give them a thumbs down. But tell me why. I can't change the content if you don't tell me what you don't like. If you want to support the channel, it's as simple as like, share, subscribe, drop a comment, hit the bell icon, and make sure you have notifications turned on your device. I put out a lot of content. If you want to see it all, you got to make sure you have all that set up. If you want to support the channel, there's a bunch of other ways you can do it. If you want to do it financially, I have a membership down below that's tier-based. I have all kinds of different benefits that are based on tier. Pick the tier that gets you what you want out of my membership. But just remember, everyone saves $5 off my sharpening service. And everyone that's a member has access to my Gilded server, which is a lot of fun. I post up a lot of stuff there. Other ways you can do it, I have affiliate links where you can find knives that you want to purchase. If I have an affiliate link for this knife, I will drop it in the description below. And you guys can follow that. And it doesn't cost you anything extra. It just, the companies give me a little bit at checkout to say thank you for bringing that to them, or bringing you to them. And the final way is I have a merchandise store on Ember Shirt Co. I've set up a coupon code that works anywhere on Ember Shirt Co. And that coupon code is CrazySharp, all one word, capital C, capital S. CrazySharp saves you 10% at checkout. And if you send me pictures of you wearing my merchandise, I will put them in the videos. Guys, I love y'all. Keep it clean in the comment section. I shouldn't have a chair that spins. If it's your birthday, happy birthday. And I will see you in the next video.